today's video, the question and answer comes from someone I would call Emma. On my way flying here, I watched the new release, Cruella, I think that's the name. And the two actresses are Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. So I'm going to call this woman Emma. So Emma is a client of mine. She's a mother of a son of 12-year-old, 13, and a wife and a mother. And she's going through a lot of difficulties in her life right now. A pandemic almost put, her and her husband completely polar opposite as in their views of everything. And she wanted to do some spiritual regression to get a lot of answers. So she seeks in this life whatever she's going through, and also challenging in raising her child. And so we set up for 3 sessions, and after session number 1, she went into space. I didn't do past life regression to start with, even though she talked about it, because a lot of issues, a lot of questions in this life. So I allowed her subconscious mind to take us to where we needed to go. And so she went into a imagery where she was sitting in a park bench, and somehow her son came to join her. And it was a very insightful session in many ways. And I could see that session answered a lot of her questions already. However, after a week, after the first session, she sent me an email getting confused again. I could see how a lot of people, even though their subconscious mind is communicating very faithfully, very accurately with their conscious mind, then when the conscious mind, after a little while, goes to confusion, and then instead of settling for the answers they already got from their own subconscious mind, they start to get more questions going on and trying to find answers from outside. But that's Emma's situation. So after the first session, that insightful session, she sent me a long email. I'm going to read the email. So, hi, Kemila. Patrick, I'm going to call her husband Patrick. Patrick and I were talking about imagining and seeing something in our mind's eye. I just discovered that I can only imagine and know the image I put in my mind, yet cannot see the image at all. Patrick can clearly see everything he imagines. I also tried to meditate and relax myself before picturing something I am familiar with, and the result was the same. This experiment made me understand why everything was so blurry during the hypnosis in my first session. Blurry is enough. When I close my eyes, the image comes from different place. It's very different from when I open my eyes, I see the physical world so clearly, so beautifully here. But obviously Emma thought something was wrong when she closed her eyes, things went blurry. However, in the session itself, she was clear. I was speaking with her subconscious mind. There was no confusion. The confusion comes from afterwards. Her conscious mind kicked in. So I'm going to continue. If this is the case, I do not know if I can actually go into spirit world and see anything. Emma, you cannot go into spirit world and see anything because the spirit world is not physical. Seeing, all the 5 senses are the result of being a physical. So you cannot use the physical to interpret the spirit world. So seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting, all are attached to the physical body. Without physical body, how can you see anything? If that happens, do you have any ways to somehow connect me with my spirit guide or my higher self to get my questions answered? So Emma seemed to be wanting to have another ways, as if I, the hypnotherapist, connecting with her guide so that we can get the questions answered. That is a legitimate avenue for sure. So here are her questions that she really, really wanted the answers for. I'm going to read her questions because it's very typical. It's typical questions coming from the conscious thinking mind. I wrote up my main questions again in the following list. They are similar as what I already let you know before. So no matter how many hypnotherapy sessions sometimes people had, they always managed to come back to the same old questions. Here are some examples. First, what lessons do I need to learn? Huge question. Very general. Very big question. I would say basically, okay, I'm going to serve as your spirit guide here. Sometimes the living beings can be a spirit guide. There's another video, I talked about it. So what lessons do you need to learn? Whatever the challenge you face the most in this life are the lessons that you need to learn. What's my present life plan? Again, a very, very big question. What is your present life plan? The answer can never be found anywhere outside of you. Nobody knows but you. You can decide what's your life plan right now. When you empower yourself enough to decide, this is my life plan, so be it. Then it becomes your life plan. Right now, my life plan for my entire life in this moment is to how I can enjoy the most out of this wonderful journey in Greece, a journey that I dreamed about for so long. Here I am. Being here is my current life plan. Okay, I didn't mean to hijack your questions, Emma. Now, the next question she has is how to feel close again with Patrick. As I said earlier, pandemic separated them. And one of them got into a little bit of conspiracy, and one of them sticks to government voice. So she wants to feel emotionally close again with her husband. And she wants the spirit regression to get the answer. How to feel reconnect with Alex. I'm going to call Alex her son. She feels a disconnection with him. How am I doing in general? So how I'm doing in my life in general, that's her question. Don't you already know that, how you are doing? How you feel is how you are doing. Maybe not so well. I think Emma meant to ask the question of how am I doing in general as a spiritual progress. Well, again, that cannot be answered by anyone else but yourself. What should I focus on for the next step? Again, the feelings actually can give you the best answer than anyone else. What's focused on? Whatever the next step is in front of you is what you need to focus on. Do I have emotional issue? What do you think, Emma? Do you have emotional issue? I think so. How can I let go the fear of losing the love from families? So then, of course, because of the disconnection with her son and the difficult right now she's going through with her husband, she has a fear of losing them, losing her family. Yeah, emotional issue. Does Alex have any issues? Her son. Yeah, it's when we take care of ourselves, Emma, everyone else around us seems to be taken care of already. And so she said, does Alex have any issues? What are they? How can I be a help? well, I'm going to put on the hat of your spirit guide here, pretending to be a spirit guide. How can you be a help? You can be a help by taking care of you. So Emma continued on saying that if it's somehow difficult for me to communicate with my spirit guide, would it be possible to get my questions answered through Transom Patrick to meet with my spirit guide? This is just an idea I had this morning. It will be appreciated if you could respond to me before tomorrow's session. Tomorrow's session was the second session. So because she believed her husband was better than she visualizing, seeing the spirit world. And so she came up with this idea of me hypnotizing Patrick to get all the answers, the questions answered. I wrote to her, to Emma, that not everyone is a visualizer. Half of populations, we close their eyes, we don't see pictures or motion pictures in our mind's eye. I'm one of them. But doesn't mean this half of population cannot be hypnotized into a regression. Since we have 5 senses in the physical world, when we engage other senses, such as listening, I literally had people saying that I don't see anything at all. Then I asked them, when you listen, what do you hear? And sometimes they may say, I hear children playing. Now that's how we get into regression as well. Sometimes people may say, I don't see anything, but I have a sense. There's a presence to my right. Then I ask the question, continue sensing it. The presence to your right is a male presence or female? Somehow miraculously clients start to say male. So you can feel into it, sense into it. But anyway, Emma obviously thought seeing, visualizing is the only way to have a regression experience. So she wanted to suggest to her for her husband to do it. I mean, hypnotherapy is an experience. That's what's the most important. You give yourself an experience, the healing from inside out. It's not just to get all the questions answered. Until you live the answer. For example, what's my life lesson? Your life lesson, if the answer is whatever you're going through, the difficulty, the challenge you're going through in this life is the answer. What do you do with it? If you don't live it, there's no use for the answers. So, but the experience itself gives you not only the answer to the question, but the healing. That's what most people look for. Sometimes people would go to psychic reader, for example, to get the answer. But hypnotherapy is literally turn you yourself into a psychic reader for yourself. Therefore, there is that therapeutic value in it. However, of course, Emma came up with this idea of finding her husband to be to hypnotize him so that I turn him into a psychic reader for her. That's a little too redundant, I would say. I told her that I myself am worse than you am in seeing things. It doesn't mean I cannot directly know things. Direct knowing is one of the senses in regression. So trusting yourself rather than others may be your number one lesson in this life. So no need to compare yourself with the others, thinking you are less than others. Your husband might see more clearly, that's how he access the information. But if you have other ways to do it, doesn't mean your ways are less than his. So as a kinesthetic feeler, that's how I sensed Emma as, you just need to relax the need to see. As I said earlier, you can go deep. Yes, she could. But you feel more than you see. This is perfectly okay. Imagine, even though you get all the questions answered conceptually, then what? Your life stays the same until you actually make the change. And I went on saying, you have zero issue communicating with the spirit world after working with you for one session, Emma. You may do it differently from Patrick, But your way is just as valid as anyone else's. The only one thing that may help you now is stop overthinking all of this. So then I answered her directly, your idea this morning to have Patrick as a surrogate, really, for her. I have no objections on that, but it does make things more complicated. Maybe you will get the information you need from Patrick's lens, but it provides a little therapeutic value. So that was my answer, the email reply to Emma, and Emma wrote me back in 2 hours. Hi, Kemila, thank you so much for taking the time to give me a lengthy response. It seems the lengthy response continues on. We're doing this video here. Thank you, Emma, for that, for providing us with the this opportunity. Your explanation has made me relaxed on my desire to clearly see something in hypnosis. You're right, that all I need is to relax. I have been into meditation for more than 5 years, simply because I know I should learn to let go. Even though I am doing better than before, I still have so much to let go from within. Inner relaxation is absolutely one of the focuses in my life. Now she found another answer to one of her questions. Thanks again for your insight about me. And thank you again, Emma, for providing us this opportunity for this Q&A in this most beautiful place that I can be. This is my life purpose in this moment. It's just stunning. Thanks.